Anthony Joshua's story begins far from bright lights and title belts. Born in Watford to Nigerian parents, he didn't grow up dreaming of boxing. In fact, he was more interested in football and athletics. His early life was full of potential, but also distractions. Joshua got into trouble as a teenager and even spent time on remand. Those years could have pushed him in the wrong direction, but they ended up becoming the turning point that shaped his entire future. Joshua discovered boxing at 18. The sport didn't just give him something to do. It gave him direction, discipline, and a reason to push himself. Within a few years, he was competing at the highest amateur levels. His talent was raw but undeniable. Coaches saw power, speed, and size that didn't come around often. He didn't take long to prove them right. In 2012, Joshua won Olympic gold in London. That victory changed everything. Suddenly he was a national hero, and the boxing world saw him as the next big heavyweight. His rise through the professional ranks was fast and explosive. Joshua became known for his knockout power and his calm but confident personality. Every fight felt like an event. Crowds filled arenas, pay-per-views broke records, and sponsorships poured in. He was the perfect mix of athletic ability, media presence, and marketability. In 2016, he won the IBF heavyweight title. A year later, he stepped into the ring against Vladimir Klitschko in one of the most dramatic fights in recent heavyweight history. Joshua knocked out the long-reigning champion and added the WBA and IBO belts to his collection. It felt like a new era had arrived. Fans believed he was unstoppable, but the heavyweight division is never simple. The same qualities that make you a champion can become weaknesses if you ignore them. Joshua's growing fame brought pressure. Every fight came with expectations. Every punch was judged. And behind the scenes, his style wasn't evolving as quickly as his opponents were preparing for him. Joshua was powerful and skilled, but he relied heavily on his athleticism. That approach works perfectly until you meet someone who refuses to be overwhelmed. In June 2019, Joshua faced Andy Ruiz Jr. This fight was supposed to be routine. Ruiz wasn't the original opponent, and many people underestimated him. But Ruiz came with sharp hands, strong movement, and fearless confidence. The fight shocked the world. Ruiz dropped Joshua multiple times and won by TKO in the 7th round. Suddenly, the invincible champion looked vulnerable. The loss was more than an upset. It was a reminder that heavyweight boxing can change in a single moment. Joshua came back 6 months later and won the rematch with discipline and control. He stayed calm, used his reach, and boxed smart. It showed he could adjust, but the doubts had already started. Fans wondered which version of Joshua was the real one. Was he the aggressive powerhouse or the cautious technician? Those questions got bigger when Joshua faced Alexander Usyk. Usyk wasn't just a challenger. He was one of the most technically gifted fighters of his generation. In their first fight, Usyk exposed the limitations in Joshua's style. He outboxed him, outsmarted him, and never allowed Joshua to use his size advantage. Joshua lost on points, and although he fought better in their rematch, the result was the same. Usyk's skill was on another level. These defeats marked the turning point in Joshua's career. His confidence seemed shaken. His approach inside the ring became more hesitant. He tried to reinvent his style with new trainers, new strategies, and new attitudes. He trained harder, focused more, and tried to rebuild his identity as a fighter. But the world that once praised him began to question whether he could ever return to the top. Even with the setbacks, Joshua remains one of the biggest names in boxing. His rise was meteoric, and his fall, while dramatic, doesn't mean his story is over. He continues to fight, continues to grow and continues to chase another shot at becoming champion. His journey shows how quickly the sport can lift someone up and how quickly it can humble them. More than anything, it shows that greatness isn't just about winning. It's about what you do after the losses. Joshua's career is still alive. His legacy isn't finished. The world now waits to see whether he can rise again or whether this chapter marks the final stage of a story that once looked unstoppable.